criminal.
Joining us now to discuss, former DHS senior advisor and author of Terrorists on the Border and in Our Country, Charles Marino, plus Border, Commerce and Security Council Chairman Nelson Balido. And we also have the former Speaker for the Oklahoma House of Representatives, T.W. Shannon. T.W., since you're here in studio, let's start with you. Nothing is changing at the border. We're seeing the numbers go up and up and up in these warmer weather months here. And I say this all the time. I'm going to say it again. It appears as nothing is going to change unless Joe Biden is removed from office.
It's not going to change because this is an invasion. This is an invasion of our civil rights. It's an invasion of our country. This is not a matter. See, I'm old enough to remember when border security was a racist issue. I remember when Donald Trump talked about it, they called it racist. Now you've got people like Mayor Adams talking about what a crisis it is. The truth is, this next election is about security. It's about financial security. It's about your personal security. It's about national security, and it's about border security. We need to secure the border, and we need to round up the illegals, these thugs that are crossing into our country, making us less safe. And yes, like Donald Trump said, poisoning the bloodstream of America, because that's exactly what's happening with those that are committing crime.
Charles, I want to get back to the topic of that Texas National Guardsman who allegedly attempted to smuggle illegal aliens across the border. Now, the soldier was reportedly offered between $5,000 and $6,000 by a cartel to smuggle an illegal alien across the border. Now, if cartels are employing U.S. soldiers, how much more dangerous is the issue, or do you think this is just an aberration and far from typical?
Well, this has always been a very real threat originating from the Mexican cartels to corrupt U.S. law enforcement, which is why Texas Department of Public Safety, Customs and Border Protection, and ICE have internal programs to not only watch and detect this type of behavior, but also educate their employees on how to be aware of this. The problem is now, because of this crisis, we're having to introduce the National Guard, not only originating from Texas, but also outside states. And they don't have those programs to look out for these things. So essentially, our military now, if you will, is open to corruption from the cartels. We saw this happen, actually, when former President Calderon in Mexico started using the military more in place of police in Mexico. And now the military is battling corruption down there in Mexico at overwhelming rates.
Nelson, your take on this, and now we're getting into very, very difficult territory here.
You bet. So this is not the first time this has happened, and to the other guests on, they're absolutely right. Not only is this an invasion, but the thing is there's so much money going back and forth on our border because of human smuggling and drug smuggling that the temptation is absolutely at its highest as it's ever been. There is internal programs, there's IA programs to be able to look at these types of things, but sure, there needs to be some re-educational efforts to the Texas National Guard or other guardsmen that are on the border to ensure that they know what to look for, how to detect, and how to ensure that this is thwarted one way or another. There's just absolutely, these folks are out there, they're making decent money, but when somebody gives you $6,000, it is very tempting to try to do something and skirt the system. This is something that needs a re-education at all levels.
And where is the border czar? Kamala Harris is the border czar, supposedly, and she's spending her time going to college campuses promoting abortion through kindergarten, basically, anytime, anywhere, on demand, when she should be at the border, securing it, making sure that Americans are safe. This is a matter of national security. This is not a matter of politics.
Yeah, Charles, quickly, we're almost out of time, but just want to get your thoughts. We know that the jobs report is coming out tomorrow, and we're hearing that jobs numbers are up because of illegal immigrants. Wanted to get your thoughts on that. Is that why perhaps we're seeing this porous border continue under this administration?
Well, I think it all leads to one thing for Democrats, and that's ultimately votes to retain power. That's why you're seeing the border wide open. That's why you're seeing people not be thoroughly vetted. And that's why you see it being acceptable to this administration that our threat level is 10 times higher than it was pre-9/11. And nothing's being done about it. They're going to do anything for votes. They've put politics very clearly over national security, and it will remain this way until this administration's thrown out of office.
Charles, the craziest thing you think you said in there was the fact that it is acceptable to this administration, the way things are going, and it appears that way. Charles Marino, Nelson Balido, thank you for coming in, and T.W. Shannon, you as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank